Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of August 22nd through the 28th of 2022. All right, so this week we have a new moon towards the week's end around Friday and Saturday. It is going to be in Sidereal Leo. If you're expecting me to say another sign, definitely check out the link down below for more information. But a new beginning nonetheless, and as we do approach the weekend, it is good to let the energies of the current lunar month die down, maybe complete some things, and start to set some new intentions for what will be this new lunar month arising out of the weekend time period. Now, we do have some important aspects this week. Right at the beginning of the week, Monday, Mercury, the planet of communications and how we're thinking, is going to be in a trine to Pluto. So maybe a bit of empowering communications, maybe a bit of an empowering mind coming into the week. Tuesday, Venus, the planet of our values, is going to shift from more of protective Cancer into more of expressive Leo, really adding to a lot of the Leo energy that we're going to start to develop here moving forward. And Leo is about that self-expression and passion and connecting to the things and people that we love in life. Uranus is going retrograde. That's going to be around Wednesday. Some shifts with anything that you've been wanting more change with in your life, maybe more freedom with in your life. We could see some positive shifts with that. And all in all, the new moon is going to be squaring up to Mars. So the weekend, the sun will be squaring Mars. So this can create some of that over or under extremes with Mars energy, which is fire, which is maybe over under assertiveness, maybe independence, action, that energy, that fire, really getting extended there because Mars is slowing down for his retrograde here in about a month and a half. All right, and then lastly on Saturday, also Venus will be squaring Uranus. So finding that, again, a healthy way to implement some of that freedom and change we'll talk a little bit more about as well. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, August 22nd. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. A lot of the signs are different. And so if you do notice some of the signs are not where you thought they were, definitely check out the link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so let's do a little bit of a recap because we do have a lot going on here this week. Again, most importantly is that we are approaching the new moon, and so it is the ending phase as we get closer and closer to that Friday and Saturday time period. The energy is still quite heightened coming into the week, but we'll start to notice it, especially Wednesday, Thursday, that it is good for just creating a little bit of space, maybe releasing some things, and again, completing things of this current lunar month, which really was a lot having to do with protective Cancer. That's where the new moon started, depending on when you're watching this, three or 4 weeks ago. And so that has been a time of, matters around creating a protective environment for ourselves, others, maybe matters of home, personal life, things like this. But so anything in that context that you're completing or finalizing could certainly be happening this week as we do end that lunar month. Now, in terms of the placements, we do have the sun in Leo gearing up for that new moon. So the focus is, and especially will be this next lunar month, on self-expression, passion, what we love, connecting to those things close to our heart, essentially. And it's a great time of this, focusing on this. Venus will be shifting into Leo around Tuesday at the beginning of the week, so valuing more of this and maybe connecting in our relationships more in that playful, lighthearted, and expressive way with Leo. But again, great to set intentions with that around the new moon specifically. Mercury is in his home sign of Virgo, so a good time for solving problems, fixing things. Our minds and communications can be quite analytical, quite into the details of things and striving towards improvement and perfection, right? Virgo's all about that refinement. And so great to be thinking and communicating in that way right now with that placement. And Mars is gearing up for his retrograde this year in Taurus, and so as he's slowing down, it is dragging out that square up to the sun. Typically Mars moves a lot faster than the sun, but since he's slowing down, he's matching the sun's speed, which is dragging out that square what the sun will be talking about. Whoops. And but nonetheless, generally speaking, for the next months coming up, going into early next year, it is good to be taking things slowly and steadily with Mars and Taurus. Mars is our action, our fire, and Taurus is the bull, the earth, the steady energies. And so good to, stop and smell those roses, take things slowly and steadily, not rushing too much, with this sort of placement, especially with the retrograde coming up. All right, so that's the placements coming into the week. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these aspects that we have, because again, there is a lot going on. So Monday, we are going to have the moon in Gemini. This will be Tuesday as well. So just as a backdrop to Monday and Tuesday, maybe some themes around that communication. Good to be connecting with peers, siblings, neighbors, the social kind of elements to learn, to exchange, to communicate. We could notice some themes of that development around Monday, Tuesday. If it is more internalized for you, it just could be a good time to pick up that book, maybe do some learning, especially if it's about more practical or left brain types of things, which Gemini rules. But this should all be quite empowered because Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is going to be in a trine to Pluto. So we could be having quite an empowering mind and empowering communication, certainly available to be utilized Monday and Tuesday. And here, maybe uncovering deep things. Pluto likes to uncover the underworld, right? And so here we could be, researching, maybe getting into some of the psychology or occult or healing stuff, anything that is, again, normally hidden, great to uncover. And that could be, of course, deeper communications as well. Intimacy, trust, right? That kind of communication can be quite supportive, easier to do, relatively speaking, when Mercury's trine Pluto like this. So those types of themes likely the early part of the week. Now, once we start to get into the Wednesday time, again, that's when we're going to start to close out the current lunar month. We'll feel the energies dying down, and the moon will be in Cancer where we had the previous new moon. And so again, themes around tying up loose ends or completing or finalizing things around that protective environment, around our roots in life, our foundations in life, is fantastic this middle to later part of the week. Now, Uranus is going to go retrograde. Now, we usually don't feel these outer planets retrograde very personally because they're very slow moving and they go retrograde every year for about 6 months in this case. So it's very normal and not very personal. But still, it's a good week to kind of see if there has been anything you've been implementing this year, essentially, since about 6 months ago, that has been about creating more freedom in your life, more change in your life. So that some element of your life is a greater reflection of your true self, or your life as a whole is a greater reflection of your true self. This is stuff that's good to now start to shift perspective with. The next 6 months will be good to reevaluate these things, maybe redo some of these things, and just kind of, again, be adaptive because the retrogrades is about learning, it's about experimenting. And so in the context of more change, more freedom, it's good to kind of have that flexible approach. With that said, midweek, there could be some shifts here, some things shifting, new perspective shifting, maybe even things taking a nice positive step in the right direction with some of these themes relating to Uranus. And so something to be aware of, I suppose, here about midweek, and just be receptive to that energy and see how we can start to reflect and redo and reanalyze some of that importance of freedom, change, and individual self-expression. Venus will be trining Chiron here around the same time, but really minor. Just could be that in some one-on-one connections, maybe there's some healing going on, and maybe simply connecting to nature or a good meal, getting into our senses can be quite healing as well, since Venus represents those things. So Venus is relationships and the natural world, and so either of those can be quite healing and therapeutic if that is your intention around the Wednesday time. Okay, and this is when we start to get into, the Thursday. We're getting closer to the ending of the lunar cycle, the new moon. The sun is within 1 degree of the square to Mars, as you can see here, dragging that out, as I was saying. And so we'll likely start to feel that Mars energy. And, Mars is, again, that planet of fire. And with a square, it tends to, at least collectively and as a default, it tends to over or under extreme the energies. And so this whole weekend, even going into next week, it's great to be mindful and aware of that side that does have needs, has wants to pursue, wants to be direct, assertive, initiate, right? and find the constructive way of doing that. Maybe it's not enough, which then the pendulum swings to the over extreme, or maybe it's too much, and then the pendulum will then swing to the under extreme. And so these over and under imbalances with the fire energies tend to be the case here. And by being more mindful of it and intentional with it, it helps balance it out. And so any intentions around constructive initiative, constructive assertiveness, action, all of this can actually be a very constructive time. In fact, with the new moon, any intentions around this, since it's going to be squaring Mars, is fantastic. Really for the next lunar month, right? How can we pursue those needs, be assertive, take those actions with this new lunar cycle coming up. But as we approach it, it's good to be mindful, aware of it there with that square. And just being mindful too of any impulsive, sometimes it can be a bit on that. Again, lots of fires, there's a little bit aware of any impulsive actions or initiatives there to again make sure that they're constructive. Okay, and the new moon will be essentially late Friday, early Saturday, so it'll be around 3 a.m. Eastern time of the Americas on Saturday the 27th. And so pretty much where you're seeing these X's actually is about where the new moon is. It's going to be very close square to Mars there. Venus is also going to be squaring Uranus. So when it does come to maybe some of these Uranus things we were talking about, like freedom and change and individual self-expression, maybe finding a healthy way of connecting there, connecting in relationships in that way that's constructive, enjoying things in life in that way that is constructive, because with the square to Venus, there could be some over and under extremes with that Uranus energy as well, particularly in the context of relationships and enjoyments of life. And so again, constructive change, constructive freedom kind of goes without saying with the square to Mars anyways, but just kind of expecting a little bit of spontaneity, a little of unexpected things, being able, being willing to roll with things a little bit, be adaptive with some of those Venusian things, relationships, values, can be a good way of working with that. Okay, and that's going to be the finalization of the week, is just setting new intentions for the new moon. This is the lowest energy of the lunar cycle. It is great for setting intentions. It's great for listening to see what new emerges. And again, it'll likely be in the context of Leo, the lion, cultivating, developing the things in our life that we're proud of, the things we love, and cultivating more of that self-expression. All right, so all in all, a lot going on, but we can simplify it and say that, most important thing is that we're ending the current lunar month this week. We got some support with Mercury these early couple days, thoughts and communications. We got some shifting going on with the things that are creating more freedom in our life or wanting more freedom with Uranus and Venus square Uranus. And then, the square to Mars, the sun square Mars, finding that balance with the fire energies is great. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter where you do get videos like this released before YouTube, straight to your inbox, absolutely free. If you're not yet signed up, check out the link down below. But have a great week, everyone. Thank you again for all of your support, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.